Since the origins of human civilization, eyes have turned upward in the night sky in wonder of the mysteries of the moon. Stories of its origins and purpose have passed from one generation to the next. On July 20th, 1969, the crew of Apollo 11 made first contact with this mysterious rock, bringing us all a little closer to understanding the secrets of the moon. Perhaps the story of Apollo 11 is best told through the words of the astronauts and all of the men and women who made the mission possible. Their legacy stands as a testament to the strength and determination of the human race. The race for space dominance began in the middle of the 20th century during the Cold War with the Soviet Union. By the late 1950s, the Russians had begun successfully launching unmanned rockets into space. The United States was not as successful, with their rockets still exploding on the launch pad. Then, on October 4th, 1957, the Soviets successfully launched Sputnik 1, a radio beacon satellite, the first artificial satellite to orbit the Earth.
Sputnik. On October 4th, 1957, as I recall, the Russians launched a fairly heavy object into orbit, and that caught us really by surprise.
Less than a month later, they launched a second Sputnik with a K-9 passenger aboard. It was clear that the Americans were losing to the Soviets. The United States scrambled. Their first successful answer to the Soviet challenge came with a launch on February 1st, 1958. The Explorer 1 satellite was created at the U.S. Army's Redstone Arsenal by a team of scientists led by Major General John Medeiros and Dr. Wernher von Braun. The successful launch of Explorer 1 put the Americans back in the race and also led to the major discovery of the Van Allen Belt, a radiation belt circling planet Earth.
This was a national response to perhaps an international challenge of our capabilities in engineering and technical prowess by the Soviets, and we certainly were, in retrospect, responding and charting a course which was a national response.
It was a gate that opened into a new land. We hoped at that time that we will make progress and achieve many more things in space beyond launching a small satellite.
NASA was formed on July 29, 1958, when President Dwight Eisenhower signed an act establishing the National Aeronautics and Space Administration. In the spring of 1961, the Soviets made another major breakthrough that threatened to further solidify the Soviet Union's dominance in space. A young Soviet aviation officer, Yuri Gagarin, became the first person to travel into space, April 12, 1961. Fighting to stay in the race, the United States launched Freedom 7 on May 5, 1961. The launch was a success, and Alan Bartlett Shepard Jr. became the first American to travel into space. This was an historic moment in the history of NASA. With this measurable achievement under their belts, the United States now had the confidence to forge ahead with more manned space missions.
I believe that this nation should commit itself to achieving the goal, before this decade is out, of landing a man on the moon and returning him safely to the Earth.
We have one of the most challenging assignments that has ever been given to modern man.
It was an international challenge and response that prompted the president to chart a course for this nation to go there.
January 20th, 1962, aboard the Friendship 7 spacecraft, John Glenn of the Mercury Atlas 6 program became the first American to orbit the Earth. On the day of the launch, before the light of dawn, final preparations were already underway for the crew of Apollo 11. Commander Neil Alden Armstrong, Lunar Module Pilot Edwin Buzz Aldrin Jr., and Command Module Pilot Michael Collins ate breakfast and were subjected to last-minute medical examinations before suiting up for the launch. Although everyone at NASA was excited and hopeful, the team had an air of serious concentration and sobriety. The quality control tests thorough, as systems were checked and rechecked. Men's lives were at stake, as well as the hopes and dreams of millions.
All that we have accomplished in space, all that we may accomplish in days and years to come, we stand ready to share for the benefit of all mankind.
As we explore the reaches of space, let us go to the new worlds together, not as new worlds to be conquered, but as a new adventure to be shared.
Well, every launch day is a time of excitement, enthusiasm, and apprehension. But I think in most circumstances, you always feel that the chances of actually lifting off are fairly distant or remote.
Thousands of spectators had been gathering for days on the nearby beaches and roads to bear witness in person to this historic event. Millions more waited around the world, eyes fixed to televisions in every nation of Earth as the Apollo 11 crew walked onto the launch pad and waved one last time before climbing aboard Columbia.
Stand alone by myself out there and look at the rocket and the quietness and see the sun come up and the waves rolling in and the evidence of the millions of people watching. It's all a frantic activity preparing the rocket, but it was so quiet up there for me personally, and that in a very few moments we were going to be departing in a great roar and off for a momentous event.
As the launch counted down, dozens of men sat at the controls in NASA's headquarters in Houston as the master computer monitored and regulated thousands of sensors and gauges, each instrument finely calibrated for maximum accuracy. Weighing over 6.5 million pounds and standing over 36 stories tall, the Saturn V rocket carried the Apollo 11 spacecraft and its crew into Earth's orbit at 9:32 a.m. local time.
Firing command coming in now. We're on an automatic sequence as the master computer supervises hundreds of events occurring over these last few minutes.
Jack King, then NASA's Chief of Public Information, provided play-by-play commentary for millions of people around the world as Apollo 11 began its historic journey.
Stage completely pressurized. T-minus 60 seconds and counting. We passed T-minus 60. 55 seconds and counting. Neil Armstrong reported back when he received the good wishes. Thank you very much. We know it will be a good flight. Good luck and Godspeed. 40 seconds away from the Apollo 11 liftoff. All the second stage tanks now pressurized. 35 seconds and counting. We are still go with Apollo 11. 30 seconds and counting. Astronauts report it feels good. T-minus 25 seconds. 20 seconds and counting. T-minus 15 seconds. Guidance is internal. 12, 11, 10, 9. Ignition sequence starts. 6, 5.
Apollo 11, this is Houston. You are confirmed to go for orbit. Houston, Apollo 11, that sat in, gave us a magnificent ride. Roger, 11, we'll pass that on, and it certainly looks like you're well on your way now.
Once in space, the Apollo 11 spacecraft wasted no time, leaving the relative safety of Earth's orbit after circling the planet just 1.5 times and headed for the moon.
Well, of course, all three of us had flown in orbit before and seen the wonders of Earth as seen from space. This was a new experience for us, and when you're departing at a great rate, it's very clear that this is an unusual experience.
3 hours after leaving Earth's orbit, the Apollo Command Module moved forward to extract the lunar module from the third stage of the launch vehicle. Both were moving more than 17,000 miles per hour. Docked together, they traveled more than 250,000 miles to the moon.
Loud and clear now, Mike, and we understand that you are docked.
As the spacecraft made its long 3-day journey from the Earth to the Moon, the craft rotated slowly in the sunlight, ensuring that the lit side of the craft never got too hot from exposure to the sun's powerful radiation.
11 Houston, we're really amazed at the quality of the picture up in the tunnel. It's really superb, over.
It is, considering the amount of light up in there. Roger, we're about to open the hatch now.
Right.
Buzz Aldrin reporting that he's halfway into the LEM. This view is inside the LEM cabin.
Hey, that's a great shot right there. We see you in there.
Apollo 11, star 40 has just disappeared now in the sextant. Could the trunnion angle 47 something be a little high?
Stand by. Hello, Apollo 11. Houston, we'd like you to press on to star 44, over.
Yeah, right here, right.
Hello, Apollo 11. Houston, we recommend you accept the now 49. Continue through your sequence of sightings, and then we'll analyze the data afterwards, over.
Okay.
The Earth, as it appears from the Moon, is a very small and fragile object. And when you think about it, that's not an inaccurate description. The Earth does appear fragile from space. Part of it is simply it's so small. It's about the size of your thumbnail if you hold your arm out at full length. And it, of course, is absolutely spherical. Atmosphere is not apparent. It shines. It bounces the sunlight very well. So you have this very small, very shiny spherical object, and somehow it just appears to me, at least, extremely fragile. That would be the one most fundamental quality that it projects.
11, this is Houston. You are go for LOI, over. Sure, go for LOI.
Approximately 3 days after leaving Earth's orbit, Apollo 11 swung around the backside of the Moon and entered lunar orbit with the assistance of its service propulsion engine.
Apollo 11, this is Houston. All your systems are looking good going around the corner. We'll see you on the other side, over. Roger. Everything looks okay up here. Roger, out.
And we've had loss of signal as Apollo 11 goes behind the Moon.
Under the control of pilot Michael Collins, the Apollo 11 Command Module Columbia released the Eagle lunar module in preparation for its descent to the Moon's surface. Collins continued to orbit the Moon, awaiting their return.
Roger, Eagle, done dock. Roger, how does it look? The Eagle has wings. Roger. Looking good. Roger, Neil, we got if you give us crew and data, we got the loads for you.
While in orbit, the crew of Apollo 11 passed over their targeted landing site in the southern Sea of Tranquility. Previously surveyed by the automated Ranger 8 and Surveyor 5 landers, the southern Sea of Tranquility was chosen in part for its relatively flat landscape. With concurring analysis from the Lunar Orbiter Mapping spacecraft, it seemed that this landing site would prove to be the least problematic location for the Apollo lunar module Eagle.
Can we rig you now? You're a go for PDI, over. Roger, understand. Lights on. One, zero. Ignition 10%. That's 20 seconds, everything looking good. We show altitude about 47,000 feet. Good radar data. Altitude now 33,500 feet. Altitude now 21,000 feet, still looking very good. Velocity down now to 1,200 feet per second. You're looking great, Eagle. Okay, I'm still on flu, so we may tend to lose as we gradually pitch over. Let me try auto again now, see what happens. Roger.
The crew realized they were a full 4 seconds ahead of schedule on their descent to the lunar surface. Neil Armstrong, looking out the window of the lunar module, saw that the area now targeted by Eagle's navigation system would put them down on uneven rocky terrain west of the original landing zone.
I guess in my own view, we didn't have that good a chance of completing a successful landing.
Okay, all flight controllers, go for landing. Retro, go. Fido, go. Guidance, go. Control, go. Telcom, go. GNC, go. Econ, go. Surgeon, go. Capcom, we're go for landing. Altitude 4,200. Houston, you're go for landing, over. Roger, understand. Go for landing. 3,000 feet. You're looking great. How you doing, Control? We look good here, fine. How about you, Telcom? Go. Guidance, you happy? Go. Fido. Go. 2,000 feet. 2,000 feet. Into the ag. 47 degrees. Roger. 47 degrees.
As alarms began sounding inside the cabin of the lunar module, engineer Jack Garman at Mission Control Center in Houston, Texas, told guidance officer Steve Bales that it was still safe for Eagle to continue its descent to the moon's surface.
1202 alarm. Yeah, and the same thing we had.
Flight, retro. Go retro. Throttle down. 6 plus 2.5.
Give us the reading on the 1202 program alarm.
We're going that flight.
We're going that alarm. Roger, we got
If
we're
it doesn't
going that
reoccur,
alarm.
we'll be go.
Roger.
He's taking it up to H now.
Roger.
We needed a confirmation as soon as possible from the ground, and then we'd have to get a response from the ground as to what the nature of that was, clear the display, and then be able to proceed on.
Altitude, velocity, light. 3.5 down. 220 feet.
With Buzz Aldrin calling out the velocity and altitude of the lunar module, Armstrong took manual control and landed Eagle safely on the surface, with just 25 seconds of fuel left in the tank.
I think the follow-on crews certainly benefited tremendously by our coming marginally close in fuel, and I'm sure they had a much greater incentive to land with a more significant margin.
4 forward, drift into the right a little. 30 seconds. Forward, drift. Contact light. Okay, engine stop. We copy you down, Eagle.
It was then that Armstrong uttered the words.
Houston, Tranquility Base here. The Eagle has landed. Tranquility, we copy you on the ground. You got a bunch of guys about to turn blue. We're breathing again. Thanks a lot. Very smooth touchdown. Eagle is at Tranquility, over.
Yeah, I heard the whole thing.
Well, good show. Tranquility, be advised there are lots of smiling faces in this room and all over the world, over. Well, there are 2 of them up here. Roger, it was a beautiful job, you guys.
And don't forget one in the command module.
Roger.
I think perhaps the final descent to the lunar surface was, for me, the highlight of the flight. It was very challenging. There were a lot of unknowns. And it was, for a pilot, it was a wonderful experience.
I think for me, the most memorable time was for a few seconds when Neil and I touched down, and there were numerous things that we needed to do, but we also needed to announce to the world that we were there, and then pause for a moment, and things were quiet, and we gazed out the window, and it was just a magnificent view.
Do you think you can open the hatch at this pressure, about 0.12 psi? We're going to try it. Roger. Okay, Neil, we can see you coming down the ladder now. Okay, Neil, we can see you coming. Okay, Houston, I'm on the porch. Okay, I just checked. Getting back up to that first step. That isn't collapsed too far, but it's adequate to get back up. Roger, we copy. It's a pretty good little jump. I'm at the foot of the ladder. The LEM footbeds are only depressed in the surface about 1 or 2 inches, although the surface appears to be very, very fine-grained as you get close to it.
6 hours after the lunar module landed safely on the moon's surface, Neil Armstrong stepped off the ladder after exiting the Eagle and uttered his now famous words.
That's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind. Oh, that looks beautiful from here, Neil. It has a stark beauty all its own. It's like much of the high desert of the United States. It's different, but it's very pretty out here.
The talcum powder nature of the fine surface itself, as you look at a blueprint, it just was so smooth, just like you'd put your foot in talcum powder. It was just a many-faceted moon. It was a stranger to me before the mission, but I now look back at it as somewhat of a friend, a place that I've visited.
Are you getting a TV picture now, Houston? Neil, yes, we are getting a TV picture. You're in our field of view now. Okay, ready for me to come out? All set. Are you ready? All set. Now I want to back up and partially close the hatch. Being sure not to lock it on my way out. Okay, I'm on the top step. It's a very simple matter to hop down from one step to the next. You've got 3 more steps and then a long one. Okay, I'm going to leave that 1 foot up there and both hands down about the 4th rung up. There you go. Okay, now I think I'll do the same. A little more. About another inch. There, you got it? That's a good step. Beautiful view. Isn't that something? Magnificent sight out here. Magnificent desolation. There is very, very fine powder, isn't it? Isn't it fine? Hey, Neil, didn't I say we might see some purple rocks? Find the purple rocks? Yep. Very small, sparkly fragments.
While on the moon, astronauts gathered experimental data for study, along with collected samples of rock and soil, to be examined and tested, hopefully to shed light on the secrets of space and time, as well as the formation of the moon itself. Perhaps even to illuminate our own planet's mysterious origins, the beginning of life here on Earth.
The surface is fine and powdery. I can pick it up loosely with my toe. It does adhere in fine layers, like powdered charcoal, to the sole and sides of my boot.
From the Oval Office of the White House, United States President Richard Nixon followed the unfolding events with keen interest and a welling sense of national pride.
There's 2 hemispheres, one showing each of the 2 hemispheres of Earth. Underneath it says Dear men from the planet Earth, first set foot upon the moon, July 1969, AD. It came in peace for all mankind. It has the crew members' signatures and the signature of the President of the United States.
After planting the American flag on the surface of the moon, astronauts Aldrin and Armstrong received a personal live telephone radio transmission from the Oval Office.
Neil and Buzz, the President of the United States is in his office now and would like to say a few words to you. Over.
Would be an honor.
Go ahead, Mr. President. This is Houston out.
Hello, Neil and Buzz. I'm talking to you by telephone from the Oval Room at the White House. And this certainly has to be the most historic telephone call ever made. I just can't tell you how proud we all are of what you do. For every American, this has to be the proudest day of our lives. And for people all over the world, I am sure they too join with Americans in recognizing what an immense feat this is. Because of what you have done, the heavens have become a part of man's world. And as you talk to us from the sea of tranquility, it inspires us to redouble our efforts to bring peace and tranquility to Earth. For one priceless moment in the whole history of man, all the people on this earth are truly one. One in their pride in what you have done, and one in our prayers that you will return safely to Earth.
Thank you, Mr. President. It's a great honor and privilege for us to be here representing not only the United States, but men of peace of all nations, and with interest and a curiosity and with a vision for the future. Honor for us to be able to participate here today.
And thank you very much, and I look forward, all of us look forward to seeing you on the Hornet on Thursday.
Look forward to that very much, sir.
Though Nixon had originally written a much longer speech, the president chose instead to keep his words brief, out of respect for the legacy of one of his predecessors, the late President John F. Kennedy, whose challenge to NASA and the nation was to land a man on the moon before the end of the 1960s. During astronauts Armstrong and Aldrin's historic moonwalk, the third member of the Apollo 11 team sat vigil. Orbiting the moon 45 miles above the lunar surface, Major General Michael Collins waited alone for his fellow astronauts to return safely to the command module.
Well, I enjoyed being in the command module by myself. It was a happy little home. My concerns were not within the command module, but simply that something might go wrong with the LEM, with the lunar module, and these two guys might get stuck on the surface of the moon. That was my main concern.
Columbia, this is Houston, reading you loud and clear, over. Yeah, reading you loud and clear. How's it going? Oh, it's beautiful, Mike. It really is. Oh, gee, that's great. Is the lighting halfway decent? Yes, indeed. They've got the flag up now, and you can see the stars and stripes. Beautiful, just beautiful.
Tranquility Base, Houston.
Roger, go ahead.
Roger, our guidance recommendation is pings, and you're cleared for takeoff.
Roger, understand. We're number one on the runway. Port stage, engine arm ascent, proceed.
Well, I think the thing I remember most visually is the ascent stage of the lunar module, the ascent stage of Eagle, in front of my window, and then in the background seeing the lunar horizon and seeing the Earth pop up above it, so that you had the horizon, the lunar module, and the Earth all in a row. I thought that was something that would rarely be seen again, and I remember that most vividly.
During the last televised broadcast from Columbia, astronaut Collins spoke of all the unseen individuals who made the mission possible. The Saturn V rocket, which put us in orbit, is an incredibly complicated piece of machinery, every piece of which worked flawlessly. We have always had confidence that this equipment will work properly. All this is possible only through the blood, sweat, and tears of a number of people. All you see is the three of us. But beneath the surface are thousands and thousands of others, and to all of those, I would like to say, thank you very much.
Hello, Apollo 11, Houston, how did it go, over? Open up the LRL doors, Charlie. Roger, we got you coming home. It's well stocked.
Apollo 11, Houston, with a little recovery force information, over.
Go ahead.
Roger, the Hornet is on the station, just far enough off the target point to keep from getting hit. Hornet reports a sonic boom a short time ago. Apollo 11, Houston, in the blind, Air Boss has a visual contact. Apollo 11, Houston, through Araya, standing by, over. Strokes.
Apollo 11, this is Hornet, over.
Apollo 1, this is Apollo 11,
There's so many things that can go wrong on a trip to the moon and back. It's sort of a long and fragile daisy chain of events, and to me that was the amazing part, that everything worked in some as well as it did.
On July 24th, the crew of Apollo 11 splashed down safely in the Pacific Ocean 15 miles from their rescue vessel, the USS Hornet. President Nixon waited on board to personally greet the returning heroes.
Some way, when those two Americans stepped on the moon, the people of this world were brought closer together. That it is that spirit, the spirit of Apollo, that America can now help to bring to our relations with other nations. The spirit of Apollo transcends geographical barriers and political differences. It can bring the people of the world together in peace.
The crew of Apollo 11 was immediately quarantined in an airtight vessel upon arrival, where they waited for nearly 3 weeks as a precaution against the possibility that they may have been exposed to unknown contaminants while on the surface of the moon.
Neil, Buzz, and Mike, I want you to know that I think I'm the luckiest man in the world. And I say this not only because I have the honor to be President of the United States, but particularly because I have the privilege of speaking for so many and welcoming you back to Earth. As a result of what you've done, the world's never been closer together before. And we just thank you for that.
The three astronauts were invited to attend a state dinner at the White House in honor of their accomplishments. There they were greeted by Vice President Spiro T. Agnew and President Nixon, who awarded them the Presidential Medal of Freedom.
I see the moon really not as an end in itself, but really a stepping stone to deeper space, to Mars and to the planets beyond. To me, the important thing is that we learned that human beings can operate successfully on the surface of another planet. We don't have to stay here on Earth. We have a choice of where we want to go and stay.
I think the most rewarding part of Apollo 11 was having it to be the major event in my life, which changed my life entirely and gave me an opportunity to reorder priorities and chart a course off to the future based on a new life of being a representative of the human race having done a very significant thing.
The returning American heroes were met with crowds of adoring fans and simultaneous parades in New York, Chicago, and Los Angeles. The expedition of Apollo 11 paved the way for the continued exploration of space. In the following years, the United States, along with partners from many nations, forged ahead with new and exciting challenges, ever expanding our understanding of the universe and the origins of life.